Welcome back to Quietly Secure. Last time we explored how much of the modern internet is funded. Advertising, subscriptions, analytics, large interconnected systems quietly sustaining the services people use every day. And that naturally leads to another question. If platforms are constantly trying to improve engagement, how do they decide what people actually see? Why do certain videos appear in recommendations? Why do some posts spread rapidly while others disappear unnoticed? Why do shopping platforms seem to predict what people might want before they even search for it? Because increasingly, large parts of the internet are shaped by algorithms, systems quietly making decisions in the background. And today, we're going to explore how those systems influence modern online experiences. When people think about the internet, it often feels open and unrestricted. You search for information, scroll through the feeds, watch videos, browse products. It feels like you're freely navigating an enormous digital space. But in reality, most modern platforms heavily filter what appears in front of users. Not manually, not usually through direct human decisions, but through automated systems designed to organise overwhelming amounts of information. Because without algorithms, modern platforms would become almost unusable. Imagine opening a video platform with billions of videos and no recommendations. Or a social network showing every post from every account equally. The sheer volume of content online is now too large for people to navigate manually. So algorithms became curators, quietly deciding what gets prioritised. One of the most important things to understand is that recommendation systems are usually not optimizing for truth, or quality, or balance, at least not directly. Most recommendation systems optimized for measurable behavior. Things like clicks, watch time, shares, comments, engagement, return visits, because these are measurable outcomes. And measurable outcomes can be improved. If a platform discovers that certain types of content keep people watching for longer, the system naturally begins recommending more of that content. Not because the system understands the content emotionally or morally, but because it recognises behavioural patterns. This is one reason online experiences can gradually become more emotionally intense over time. Strong reactions often generate stronger engagement, and stronger engagement often gets amplified. Modern algorithms also personalise experiences heavily. Two people opening the same app may see entirely different content, different videos, different news stories, different product suggestions, and different advertisements. All based on previous behaviour. What someone clicked before often influences what they see next. And over time, these systems can become surprisingly effective at predicting behaviour. Not because platforms know everything about individuals, but because large-scale patterns become statistically powerful. If millions of people and similar behaviours tend to watch certain videos or purchase certain products, recommendation systems learn from those trends. The result is an internet that increasingly adapts itself to each user individually, sometimes helpfully, sometimes invisibly. One of the reasons algorithms are difficult to think about clearly is that they rarely feel forceful. Most of the time, nobody is directly telling users what to believe or watch. Instead, platforms influence attention through subtle nudges, recommendations, autoplay, suggested accounts, trending sections, and notifications. Small design decisions that gradually shape behaviour over time. And individually, these decisions may seem insignificant, but at massive scale, they influence what millions of people spend time seeing, discussing, and thinking about every day. Not necessarily through conspiracy, but through optimization systems operating continuously in the background. Understanding algorithms does not mean every recommendation system is dangerous. In many ways, these systems are extremely useful. They help people discover music, find educational content, navigate huge platforms, and surface relevant information. Without recommendation systems, much of the modern internet would feel chaotic and overwhelming. But understanding the incentives behind these systems matters, because platforms are usually optimizing for engagement metrics tied to the business goals. And engagement is not always the same thing as accuracy, nuance, or well-being. Once people recognize that distinction, online experiences often start making more sense. Why outrage spreads quickly, why emotional charge content performs well, why platforms sometimes feel unusually addictive. These patterns are often consequences of optimization systems rather than deliberate human planning. At the beginning of this episode, we asked how platforms decide what people see online. And the answer is the algorithms now shape enormous portions of modern digital life. Feeds, recommendations, search rankings, advertisements, and shopping suggestions. Most of these systems are not consciously deciding what is good or true. Instead, they're optimizing measurable patterns of behaviour. And as those systems become increasingly sophisticated, understanding them becomes increasingly important. Not to fear them, but to recognise when online experiences are quickly shaping attention and behaviour in the background. Next time, we'll move from invisible systems to one of the moments that suddenly makes people pay attention to digital security. Data breaches. What actually happens when a company announces a breach? What information usually gets stolen? And how much danger to these incidents realistically creates for ordinary users? Thanks for listening, and in all this, stay calm and stay quietly secure.